Welcome to our new series here at Legacy Crusaders. It's going to be called Ask Judgeman. While not a judge, I am a very competent Yu-Gi-Oh player, using the rulebook, extrapolating rulings from previous cards, and using problem-solving card text. I'm going to be able to try my best to answer your complicated questions about scenarios that may have occurred while you were playing Yu-Gi-Oh, either online on Yu-Gi-Oh Pro, on Dueling Network, or Dueling Book as it is now, Dueling Nexus, or live at your locals, or a regional, or even a YCS, or your WCQ, because they're all essentially the same when it comes to rulings. So just because this is our first episode, no one really knew to give in questions, so the first question is actually to come from an experience I had at my locals yesterday. One player playing Trick Stars attempted to activate Disturbance Strategy, which says your opponent takes all of their cards, shuffles them back into their deck, and then draws the same number of cards that were shuffled into their deck. The opposing player playing Zodiacs responded with Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, to which the Trickstar player responded, "You can't Ash Blossom this card because Ash Blossom specifically says negate the effect of a card that would add a card from your deck to your hand, whereas Disturbance Strategy says cards, plural." So the question came up, can you Ash Blossom, Disturbance Strategy, Trickstar Reincarnation, or any card that would make you move more than one card? Now, I'm pretty sure everyone is aware that you can negate cards such as Pot of Desires, where you draw 2 cards, or Card of Demise, where you draw 3 cards. So it should be pretty straightforward that you can negate those cards. But the question did come up, and the wording of the card might suggest that you can't. But just in case it's unclear, a card that would move a card from your deck to your hand, a card from your deck to your field, or a card from your deck to your graveyard implies a minimum of 1 card. If it would move multiple cards from your deck to your hand, you would be moving a card from your deck to your hand. So any card that would move any number of cards from your deck to your hand, from your deck to your graveyard, or summon any number of monsters from your deck to your field would actually be a card you can Ash Blossom. Although, in reference to cards that you cannot use Ash Blossom on, are any card that would activate during the damage step, because during the damage step, you can activate a certain specific amount of cards. You can activate any card that would negate the activation of a card, negate the summon of a card, alters attack and defense points, or any other counter trap. Some other cards that can be activated during the damage step would include cards that activate when destroyed by battle, or whose triggers are met at that time, such as any Yang Zing monster, Mystic Tomato, or Metal Foe's Counter. The next question actually comes from a member of our Legacy Crusaders staff, and that's Radio Boy, and he says, "Why does Waboku allow Ultimate Falcon to not be destroyed by battle when it is unaffected by all card effects?" So I was a little confused by his question at first, but that is the question. Now, Waboku is one of the oldest Yu-Gi-Oh cards ever for the TCG. It was in the original starter deck Yu-Gi, and it states that this turn, your opponent's monsters cannot inflict battle damage, and your monsters cannot be destroyed by battle. Now, Ultimate Falcon's very first sentence says that this card is unaffected by other card effects. Therefore, it should be able to be destroyed by battle. So he was a little confused, and that has to do with the way that battle damage is actually defined. So let's take a look at that. All monsters, when they battle each other, whether they're in attack position or defense position, inflict battle damage upon one another. Now, a monster that's in attack position can be destroyed by battle if your attacking monster inflicts equal to or greater amount of battle damage to that monster. So if a monster has 2,000 attack points, in order to destroy it, you need to inflict battle damage of 2,000 or greater. At least 2,001 for certain monsters that specifically say they can't be destroyed by battle with monsters with the same attack points, like Kaiser Glider. Now, for defense position monsters, you have to destroy them by battling them with a monster whose attack point is greater than their defense specifically. Now, the difference of those those points is inflicted to the life points of the loser of the battle as damage, except when there's a defending monster. Same thing applies to piercing damage. If there's piercing damage, the difference will be inflicted to your opponent's life points as battle damage. So in this particular scenario, if Raid Raptor Ultimate Falcon was attacked by a monster that had more attack points than it, let's say Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon with 4,000 versus its 3,500, the reason that Ultimate Falcon would not be destroyed by battle is not that it's unaffected by the effect of Waboku that it can't be destroyed by battle, because it can be destroyed by battle. What isn't happening is that in order to destroy a monster, you need to inflict greater battle damage to that monster than its current attack points, or equal to its current attack points. And at this point in time, Waboku is affecting Chaos Max Dragon, therefore it is not inflicting any battle damage to Raid Raptor Ultimate Falcon, and for that reason, the necessary damage required to destroy the monster by battle was not reached. So, while it might appear that Waboku is protecting Ultimate Falcon from being destroyed by battle, it's actually being protected because it's not receiving any battle damage from the opposing monster who is affected by Waboku. Back in the day, it used to be a very popular thing to play your Waboku and crash your monsters into your opponent's monsters so that their monster would die and yours would not. The reason again being that your monster is inflicting the necessary battle damage to destroy their monster, but yours would not be destroyed because their monster would not inflict any battle damage. So that's why this happens. Now, there are some monsters that under no circumstances actually inflict battle damage, and that is a monster with 0 attack points cannot inflict battle damage. It doesn't inflict 0 battle damage, it inflicts no battle damage, and that's actually written directly in the rulebook, that monsters with 0 attack points cannot destroy each other in battle by battling each other because they do not inflict any battle damage, not 0. And I've received one actual question from someone on my Amino page, so on my Amino page is another place where you can leave questions. So this one's from Virtual Ninja, and he says, can you chain True Draco Apocalypse to the effect of Crystal Wing Syncrho Dragon during damage calculations effect? So in other words, when you attack a monster level 5 or higher, or one attacks you, his effect to gain that monster's attack during damage calculation. In order to have the attack of Crystal Wing's attack after he gains your level 5 or higher monster's attack points. And he knows it can be used during the damage step, but can he use it during damage calculation? And the answer to that question is no, and I actually do have a reference that is from the official Konami website. In addition to that, I actually took his question the way it was worded. I made it a little clearer, and I posted that on the forums of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Judge Facebook group, and I got a response there as well, but I didn't get a specific answer with it, but I did find the official page on rulings of the damage step. I'm going to bring that up right now. Now, I did include the web address here. This is all of the rulings related to the damage step. What can be activated when, where it can be activated, and the different parts of the damage step. And we're looking here at this part right here. I'm going to zoom in on that right now. Now, Crystal Wings effect actually says it activates during damage calculation. So that's here where it says perform damage calculation. And from what I can see, you can activate True Draco Apocalypse only before damage calculation. So it says if the monster being attacked is face down, flip it face up, and then cards or effects that modify attack and defense can activate. Now if you look at where it says perform damage calculation, it says cards or effects that can activate during damage calculation activate and resolve, which does not include the effect of True Draco Apocalypse. So there are some card effects that alter attack and defense that have to be activated in specific parts of the damage step. Hopefully you'll have enjoyed this segment, or at least found the rulings that I said either interesting, maybe they're obvious, or maybe they're even incorrect. Regardless, I would like you to leave a comment down below, either asking your own question with a very specific ruling scenario, not just some generic random nonsense that I can't properly answer, and I'll apply as much as I can to answering the questions for you. Now, if for some reason I was incorrect in answering a question, what I would prefer you do, rather than bash me, is explain your reasoning for the ruling that you believe is correct. And if I see what you're saying, I will post a redaction or a change in the following video in this series. And if you like what you saw, you can find one of our latest uploads right here. Also, YouTube has recommended this video for you. Click here to make sure you subscribe to our channel to get updates as soon as they occur. See you next time.